Monstrously high DPS, explosive crowd control, buttery smooth handling. Quartermaster Creature here. If these traits sound appealing to you, Helldiver, then look no further than the PLAS-1 Scorcher, the less specialised and far more versatile older brother of the PLAS-101 Purifier and PLAS-15 Loyalist. Potent plasma-based semi-auto rifle with an untapped potential for crowd control and elite shredding. Many likely already have this weapon, but haven't touched it since the start of the Second Galactic War when the Helldivers were mobilised once more. Some newer divers may not even have access to this beautiful black and white piece of plasma slinging art, due to the massive selection of democracy dealers available, thanks to Blessed Liberty's newest Warbonds. But enough rambling. Shall I convince you of the Scorcher's potency by stating the, 100 energy damage per shot? Not enough, you say? The Reprimand's 125's in my back pocket, you say? Fair. But what if I told you the energy damage is only half of the Scorcher's power per shot, with an additional 100 explosive damage added on top, for a modest as a Bile Titan 200 potential damage with every single pull of the trigger? Combined with the more than generous fire rate of 350 rounds per minute, the Scorcher boasts a beautifully high 1166 damage per second, which, even with its lower fire rate, outclasses our dearest Reprimand. Perfect for medium to close-ish ranges, as I'll cover soon. One entire magazine is capable of a total damage of 4,000, and with this little beauty's near perfect handling and recoil, landing shots should be easier than taking samples from a scavenger. Now, when it comes to enemies, priority with the Scorcher should be light and medium armoured targets, though the explosive damage can make it a formidable force for dealing damage to exposed weak points of a diver's larger foes. On the Illuminate front, the Scorcher will be your tool of democracy's will, cutting down all variants of Overseers in 3 body shots with ideal aiming, though this can sometimes be hard to achieve. Even still, I consider the Scorcher to be one of the most potent anti-Overseer weapons available to every Helldiver. As for the Voteless, they can be slain with 2 body shots or 1 headshot. Additionally, the explosive damage makes the Scorcher a formidable crowd control tool on this front, able to dispatch groups of Voteless with ease and reclaim what these vile squids have taken from us. As for the flesh bombs, their gluttonous bodies can give some weapons trouble, but the Scorcher is able to power through their large health pool. 1 full magazine and half of another should provide damage adequate enough to fell these beasts, though I would recommend supplementing this with another type of damage, such as the Flames of Freedom or gas to speed up their liberation. And while theoretically possible to down harvesters, I would not recommend the Scorcher for this task, as at best it's inconsistent at piercing their armour, at worst negligible. And while the Automatons love their heavy armour, they all come with handy little weak points, exposed heat sinks to radiate the heat and guilt generated by their insipid lies. Hulks can be defeated in an impressively short amount of time, with less than half a Scorcher mag required to destroy them from their heat sinks. As well as this, cannon towers can be reduced to scrap in a similar amount of time, though can prove slightly more troublesome to manoeuvre into position to destroy. All variants of Automaton Trooper fall before the might of managed democracy in but a single shot. Same for Scout Striders if you're able to hit their pilot. Otherwise, they typically take 2 to 3 to their waist or a single shot to the rockets of reinforced Striders. All types of Devastators usually take 2 or 3 shots, same for their chicken-legged friends, with the Scorcher inflicting a stagger to throw off their shots, helping secure your next one. The only non-factory Strider enemy I would not recommend our black and white friend here for is gunships, as the speed of the plasma bolt will struggle to reach them before they're able to reposition. Not all Liberty travels at the same speed, Diver, but it always arrives. It may seem at first glance that the Scorcher may struggle on the Terminid front, due to the ever-encroaching swarm and the self-damage potential plasma provides. However, I can say confidently that those downsides are vastly outweighed by the positives. For starters, all smaller bugs can be safely one-shot by either a direct plasma bolt or the explosive damage. Hunters, too, can be taken down by just a single blow to the head or body. Warriors will take 2 to either the head or body, Diver's choice. As well as this, Bile Spears can be dispatched in 4 to 5 shots thanks to the hefty explosive damage of this beast. Weak points being the Scorcher's favourite means it's a capable weapon for handling chargers and softening up Bile Titans. Charger rears can be popped in about half a magazine from behind, Though if the situation doesn't allow for such positioning, a creative diver can make use of the explosive damage to destroy their rear by shooting under them, at the cost of more ammo. Bile Titan rears can similarly be taken out in one magazine, though I'd recommend this purely for softening them up for support weapons, or as a last resort. A unique skill of the Scorcher is the ability to destroy both Spore Spears and Shrieker Nests, though the ammo demands for such a task is high. The Scorcher can struggle with Hive Guards, however, due to their face armor, taking a hefty 5 shots before they succumb to the will of liberty. However, our black and white Angel here has some drawbacks. The beastly high damage of the Scorcher may be seen as an absolute positive by some. However, combined with the limited magazine capacity of 20 and low amount of reserve mags at 5, some divers may be wary about using this tool of freedom against smaller targets. As well as this, the explosive damage of the Scorcher can be troublesome to those without proper care for its range, as firing at an enemy too close will result in damage to the wielder. As said prior, medium to almost close range suits this weapon well, though with the slow projectile speed I can't quite recommend it for anything above 75 meters, unless you are one skilled diver indeed. Plasma burns are meant for the enemy, not you, Helldiver. However, for the diver that does mind the distance between the enemy and themselves, the explosive plasma bolts of this beast will be a force to be reckoned with, dealing area damage around the point of contact. Despite the relatively timid magazine capacity of 20, reload is fast and snappy, with a diver slotting in a new plasma cartridge whenever empty. Tactical reloads are not advised, unless replenishing reserve ammo stock of this weapon, as unlike with conventional firearms, the Scorcher requires no draw of a charging handle or bolt when inserting a new magazine. Just plug it in and get to burning the enemies of democracy. Modifications wise, the Scorcher is admittedly quite limited, but why try to improve on perfection? Even with that said, we can turn the already buttery smooth handling to a true dream and make this weapon feel like a literal extension of a Helldiver. Optics wise, I would recommend iron sights to improve the already wonderful handling even further. However, this is a mild recommendation. Any sight approved by command that suits one's fancy will serve excellently mounted on this weapon. As well as this, I would suggest an angled foregrip to once again add on to the already wonderfully smooth handling. However, if a diver is struggling to control the mild recoil and keep that plasma flying at the enemies of democracy, you can't go wrong with a vertical foregrip either. Now that I've sung the praises of my new favourite energy weapon, I can give some loadout recommendations to best utilise our black and white plasma slinger and round out some of its weaknesses. The biggest issue facing the Scorcher is obviously the limited ammo capacity and small amount of reserve magazines. As such, to round out this weapon as best as possible against the Illuminate, I would suggest using siege-ready armours. Light or heavy, per your preference diver. Support weapon wise, something that combos well with the siege ready armour and gains extra ammo, such as the MG43 machine gun or MG206 heavy machine gun, or the LAS-98 laser cannon. These weapons will allow you to deal with every enemy on this front, from Voltless all the way up to Harvesters and Stingrays. For the Automatons, I'd recommend any medium or heavy fortified armours for the explosive resistance and better recoil control. The Automatons love their rockets, so I find it only fitting to give those dastardly bots a taste of their own medicine. The GR8 recoilless rifle, FAF-14 spear, MLS 4X commando, or MG206 heavy machine gun will supplement the Scorcher well, dealing with every enemy it isn't capable of handling on its own. And lastly, the vile Terminids. Speed would be my biggest suggestion on this front, as their ability to overwhelm both a Helldiver and the Scorcher should not be tested. As such, light armors would be my go-to against these foes, and similarly to the Illuminate, I would more than recommend anything with siege ready to help keep your beast fed well with plasma. As for support weapons, I would once again suggest the GR8 recoilless rifle and MG206 heavy machine gun. Additionally, the EAT-17 expendable anti-tank, M105 stalwart, or Flam 40 flamethrower will serve you well against these bugs. To wrap up, the Scorcher has quickly rose through the ranks to become one of my favourite primaries available, with its impressive damage, good crowd control, and effectiveness at dealing with enemy weak points, making it a powerful weapon in the hands of a capable diver. And honestly, with the highly controllable recoil and sway, this weapon is quick for anyone to master once a Helldiver learns to spend their ammo appropriately. And with that, I hope I've given you all the information needed to rip up all three fronts with plasma. This is Quartermaster Creature, signing off. Thanks for making it to the end of another video. I very much appreciate it. Remember, like and subscribe as well. This was actually the second Taildivers video I made after the reprimand. There was a couple references. If you notice, throughout the video, I keep mentioning Black and White Angel. That's in reference to the reprimand being a black and red demon, but I just wasn't happy with it, so I kind of shelved it for a bit, and I've retooled it. I've kind of remastered it to be a little bit better. So it doesn't include some of the cool visuals like enemy icons and, like, you know, showing their breakpoints and stuff. So it could be better in that regard, but honestly, the explosive damage, I don't think you need to see that. I don't think you need to see that stuff. Also, I got YouTube partner, so thank you guys very much for that. I do appreciate it. Remember to come and watch me on Twitch if you're interested. Remember, like and subscribe as well. I really should have put that at the start. Hey, edit that part into the start. Okay, thank you. Done. Lovely. Right, anyway. Bye. See you next time.